In 2002, the police station received a report from a villager named Chong Jiahui that the residents upstairs from his house would quarrel and fight at 9 o'clock every Sunday night, affecting his normal life. He negotiated with the other party many times, but the other party did not answer. After he could no longer bear it, Chong Jiahui decided to seek help from the relevant parties. The house where his family lived was a two-story apartment in the suburbs of a certain city. The upstairs and downstairs were separated. He'd been able to hear this kind of noise since he moved in 2 years ago. After the case officer arrived, he accompanied Chong Jiahui to the upstairs to discuss with the family. After knocking on the door for a long time, no one came out. At about 9 o'clock in the evening, the case officer and Chong Jiahui, who stayed behind, heard the noise and fighting coming from upstairs. According to Chong Jiahui's narration, since he moved here for 2 years, he would hear almost the same noise every Sunday night. Although it was not loud, it was very annoying because the sound was almost the same every time, and even the content of the quarrel was exactly the same. According to the case officer's recollection, although it was not very clear, the content was very strange. The man said that if he didn't get married, he would die. The woman said, "If you want to die, then die. Who cares?" The man said, "Then I'll die for you to see." Then there were noises of quarreling and fighting. The last sound was the sound of a glass bottle hitting the ground and shattering. The investigators rushed upstairs and knocked on the door, but no one answered. Finally, they kicked the door open. They found that the house was covered with dust, but there was no one. The next day, the investigators looked up the household registration of the family and found that the family upstairs was surnamed Li. The head of the household was Li Quan, and there was a daughter named Li Yan. According to the neighbors nearby, they had not seen the Li family for a long time. The investigators found it very puzzling. They clearly heard someone in the house that night, but there was no one in the house. So, the next day, they checked again and found that there was an attic in the house. There was a locked large wooden box in the attic, which aroused the suspicion of the personnel. When they opened the wooden box, everyone was stunned. Inside was the body of a man who had been dead for many years. So, the local police dispatched a large number of personnel to conduct an investigation and inquiry. On the third day, when the staff were questioning, a family surnamed Chen claimed that their fifth son, Chen Wei-guang, had been working in Shenzhen for many years but had never returned home and had lost contact for 10 years. When the case officers showed them the photos of the clothes, the family members unanimously determined that these clothes were the clothes that their son Chen Wei-guang wore when he left home. According to the Chen family, Chen Wei-guang left home in October 1992. At that time, Chen Wei-guang left with his luggage and went to Li Yan's house first, and then he was never seen again. At that time, the Chen family asked Li Yan where Chen Wei-guang had gone. Li Yan just replied that Chen stayed at her house for a while and then left, and it was said that he went to Shenzhen. A year later, even Li Yan and her father could not be seen. A year later, the case officers found Li Yan, who had married to Yulin, Shaanxi, and changed her name to Wang Hufen. During the interrogation, she confessed that she was in a relationship with Chen Wei-guang 10 years ago, but she did not like Chen. Chen came to her house on a Sunday night and proposed to her. After being rejected, she took out a bottle of pesticide and drank it to commit suicide. She was very scared at the time and did not dare to make it public, so she hid Chen Wei-guang's body in a box in the attic. About a year later, she and her father ran back to her hometown in Shaanxi. After her father died, she changed her name and married a local. Moreover, the forensic doctor confirmed that the body was Chen Wei-guang, who had been missing for 10 years, and he died of poisoning. Our final conclusion is that Chen Wei-guang is Li Yan's ex-boyfriend, but Chen committed suicide and the criminal prosecution period has passed. But Chen's body did not emit a rotten smell in 10 years, which is very strange. The forensic doctor's conclusion is pesticide, but there was no one in the house for 10 years. Who made the quarrel? The strangest thing is that there is a small ditch between the two houses. such a close distance, Chen's family has never entered Li's house. He has been missing for 10 years, but Chen has never left the village. As for the noise every Sunday, there was no explanation. However, it disappeared after the day the body was found. This is one of the few cases that has a result.